Good day, Mr. James LaFond. We are looking here today at Flood, A Life Indeed. Nice cover. Look at that. Whoop, there we go.
And the back cover.
Yeah, check that out. Crackpot Books. I really like that. And then, yeah, go ahead and let us know what this is about.
This is my novelization of the life of a coworker who really didn't like me,
Mm-hmm.
but he ended up respecting me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm the only person that he shared stories about his past with.
Yeah.
His name's Israel Flood. I was in my late 30s and he was in his early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big man. I actually was there when he fought a bigger, younger man on the night crew.
Yeah.
And I was there when he was cleaning his mouth out one night in the sink in the men's room, and he lost like half of his teeth.
Jeez Louise.
He rented houses in poor neighborhoods that he bought at auction and he refurbished them.
Mm.
And he was collecting rent one night, and he was attacked by seven. He reckons that there was 7 young fellas, and one of them cleaned his teeth out of one side of his mouth with a pipe.
Jeez Louise.
And he came to work and he worked a shift.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Thereafter?
Yeah, he was
Wow.
a stud, and
So you saw it, half his mouth blown
he's
out.
Yeah, and
Wow.
he also had a sense of humor.
Uh-huh.
And, so all the stories that I could remember that he told me about his life, I tried to put them in chronological order.
Wow.
And I put in some characters that I knew, people that were a little older than him, because Flood and I both worked in the grocery business.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, well, we migrated around from company to company. So I had to put in some suppositional chapters, like I wonder what Flood was doing
Yeah.
at this time. Or
That was his name, Flood, huh?
We just called him Flood. His first name was Israel. His last name was Flood.
Oh, okay.
And
What are
everybody
some of
just
his
called him
stories,
Flood.
like briefly? What?
He was a young boy. His daddy died. His daddy was a sharecropper, and Flood inherited his hog and his chickens. He
Mhm.
had one hog and some chickens,
Yeah.
and he went out to the main road. He got a ride, and he sold his hog and his chickens,
Mhm.
and he got a train ticket from Georgia to Baltimore,
Yeah.
and started looking for jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That really is that is the makings of a boy turned man. I've been through that. Yeah, that kind of thing where you remember that experience as a young person where you're like you have that moment where you're out in the street and you're actively looking for a job, and
Yes.
just got like you've got these every which way direction is a place to or is one to take, and you're rudderless, and it's just where like you have no idea what you're gonna do, and you just kind of go with the flow. That's a cool
I
cool
used
experience.
My experience walking into Baltimore looking for a job and being hired at an independent supermarket.
Yeah, yeah.
I use that as the basis for my description of Flood's experience, because we were both grocery guys. He didn't bother explaining to me how he went about getting hired by Mr. Baines, okay,
Mm-hmm.
who owned Baines Supermarkets. So I pretty much used my experience getting hired by one of his competitors to fill that in.
Yeah.
So I did him as much honor as I could. Cause
What
to
other
me,
stories does he have there?
He was a stud. You
Yeah.
know. And
Is this similar to maybe Son of a
Couple.
Lesser God? Just in a
he was not in this. No, Floyd is in the here and now. He was not nostalgic. He made money on the '68 riots.
mm-hmm.
He's like, those people were fools, burning their own neighborhoods down, but I got work out of it.
Yeah.
Cleaning the mess up.
What
Practical.
compelled you to write
practical working man stuff.
Oh, okay, that's the answer. That's what compelled you to write, because this is just this,
guy.
and there's virtues in here, right?
And
this is something. Yeah, this details via a case study, details the makings of a man.
right, and so it's not very long. In the back of it, there's some short stories that I wrote, set in Portland. I wrote this while I was in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's a couple of short stories in the back. But I admired Flood.
This looks pretty good. I mean, just look at that. Look at the.
And there was one of Flood's stories was,
Wow.
I was there. There's a guy that called himself the Mac Daddy that was one of our co-workers.
Mm-hmm.
There's pictures of him picking me up in one of my violence books. He was a minor league football player.
Yeah.
And, you know, he would intimidate and pick on different men on the crew.
Yeah.
That's how he rolled. And he punked out all the white boys except for me, and we had it was a very tense thing.
Yeah.
I actually became friends with him and ended up coaching his son and the other neighborhood kids after we had a run-in.
Yeah.
I once refereed a fight between the Mac Daddy and an even larger black man.
Yeah.
If there was another big black man on the night crew, the Mac Daddy would challenge him and say, who's going to be the HNC up in here? Is it going to be you or me? Well, Flood was just sitting down, and Flood said, big boy, it ain't going to be you. You know? Well, the Mac Daddy slapped Flood.
Wow.
And I darted out of that. It was a tiny lunchroom, and both these guys are bigger than you. Right?
Yeah, it was tumultuous.
Okay, and I darted out of that lunchroom as Flood started going after him, and I'm back out there. I'm standing on my milk crate. I'm fronting up the olives. The Mac Daddy is wearing a wife beater. He walks up to me. He's like 5'10", 320, all muscle. And he's like, look what that end did. Look
Right.
what it did. And
Yeah.
I said, wow. I said, well, I see you have 3 holes in your massive trapezius muscle, and Floyd happens to have 3 front teeth left, so I suppose he bit you. He said while he was reaching for his razor, he said,
Wow.
so I'm done. So they had a truce after that.
That's funny how we men can do that. I've actually, there's been people in my life where some of my best friends, I didn't like them at first. You ever had that where you just didn't like someone, and they didn't like you, but then you come to realize, oh, it's because he's similar to me, and or something. There's this thing, or at least with me,
I never had anybody.
But then you break the ice somehow, something like.
It's
Almost
weird.
Similar to this, like where you have a dispute, but then you kind of like
I had
iron it out.
things. I had my thing with the Mac Daddy as well, and we became friends.
Yeah,
It was powered by him. I never disliked him,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he had a need to dominate.
yeah.
Right. So we made a deal in our encounter. I made everybody leave. He had already punked out. The supervisor was crying.
Yeah.
I told everybody to leave. You're not going to watch this. This is between Flood and me.
Yeah.
And then Flood, not Flood, this is between Lawrence and me, the Mac Daddy. And then he broke down crying because of the stress, because I wouldn't give him the cues he needed to haul off and hit me, and both of us lose our jobs. And the adrenaline dump got to him. I was just playing for time because I knew eventually the adrenaline was going to eat him up because he was already pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew he was going to break down. I didn't want anybody else to see him cry. Oh. So I was like, look, you need to sit down, because I could see he was shaking. And then he sat down and he started to cry. And he's like, man, they can't know. I was like, Lawrence.
Was it pain or what?
No, it was the stress. He was violently angry for a solid 2 minutes.
Oh,
I
see.
The adrenaline was starting to eat him up. The cortisol was starting to eat him up.
Yeah.
So I just coached him on calming down and breathing. And I said, look, if anybody asks, You beat my ass.
There you go.
You were nice enough not to leave anymore.
So he was your friend from there.
Right.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Well, look, I weighed 150 pounds. He weighed 320.
Yeah. That was an olive branch. Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was like, look, you smoked me, all right, bro?
That's cool.
And then
That's really cool.
And I end up refereeing.
Where is he now?
I don't know. I don't know. I've lost track with these supermarket people 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember the supermarket people back prior to the Navy, you know, and they're they kind of stick with you, don't they? The memories.
Yeah.
Some interesting stories back in the meat department, but that's for another day.
Yes. So anyways, Flood was quite the guy, and eventually we made friends, and it was him that initiated it.
Very cool.
Okay.